Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Coming up, I'm going out with the head of the World Pheasant Association shooting, well, pheasants. We've got the countdown to our two new shows, AirHeads and Fishing Britain. We've got our regulars, News Stump and Hunting YouTube. First, an item we've been saving for a rainy day, and we've certainly had plenty of those. It's pearls of pigeon wisdom from George.
That was a nice one, Mr. Wright. About 100 yards.
It's always an education shooting with George, and our summer invitation to join him on the rape stubbles is no different. So pay attention, 007.
Is how to shoot a pigeon one-handed whilst on the phone.
George is matter of fact when it comes to building the pattern. If he were a builder, he'd be the cowboy variety. He tends to chuck rather than lay the birds down.
As long as they're facing pretty much the right direction into the wind, it's the volume of blue that they're seeing out there that's pretty much the main part of it. Hopefully that should just encourage a few more to turn back into us here. I've got just a few more that I'll put out.
It doesn't really matter if the pigeons are checking out the pattern or not. Many of them are just minding their own business when all of a sudden George's Paratzias locks on, and there's only going to be one outcome.
Equals here.
George has built this hide to allow him to take birds coming from every direction. Some birds are fast and low, but most fall to George when they're seriously high. It's no wonder his labs are slow returning with the birds these days. He's worn them out.
Sometimes they find it difficult to pick up in rape stubble because as they put their mouth down onto the pigeon, a rape stalk goes straight up into their mouth. It's not the ideal stuff for dogs to be running around on, but at least you can pick every pigeon up. Oh, the old lady's gone. She actually comes back quicker than them. See these pigeons in front, these are getting off the peas which are down on the marsh. So obviously that's what we're trying to protect by shooting them here. Obviously we're not killing every pigeon going down to the peas, but you know, a lot of these pigeons are coming back and decoying in here, which allows us to shoot everything, pick it up, and do a form of pest control.
Now George is well known for his one-liners. Here's a few from this outing.
Oh, that's a long one. Oh, that hurt. Shot that right off my bicep. He didn't like that. There's not a silly grin either. That's just normal.
Sometimes even George leaves a bird, but some of these are closer than birds he's already shot at and killed. So what's he playing at?
When a bird comes across the field, especially in this sort of wind, and he gets to about 70 yards and turns, you're only seeing a small part of the body that's what I call vital, as in a vital killing area. So in other words, if you're out deer stalking, you wouldn't shoot a deer up the arse because that's not a vital area. You're looking at a heart shot or a head shot or a neck shot. And I look at exactly the same way to a pigeon is a vital shot. Now, if you're shooting a pigeon 70 yards up in the air coming downwind, and he's over the top of you, when he's over the top of you, you can see every vital organ that pigeon's got. So you can break a wing, you can put pellets up through the body and kill it, you can hit it in the neck, you can hit it in the head, and you'll kill that bird. Whereas a 70-yard pigeon out in front of you, turning, quartering slightly away, the only thing you can do is break a wing or hit it up the arse, and the chances of you wounding a bird are far greater on a pigeon turning away from you at 70 yards out in front of the decoys than they ever are a bird driven straight over your head.
Note to self, do not shoot deer or pigeons up the jacksie. George's hide is quite a creation, bolted onto the end of the greenery growing along one of the marsh ditches, but it has a central core from where wings spread, which are dual purpose.
One is it takes the outline of just the netting away and just breaks it up, makes it look more like a bush, and secondly is, as you can see there, the dogs can get in underneath it, so they will sit normally until I tell them to go. Sometimes they're a little bit disobedient. They can sit in there under the shade their shadow and body figure's broken by the branches, so anything coming into the decoys won't see the dogs just outside the hide, and they get to watch everything that comes down, so that if you shoot any long birds, you know, you break a wing or a pigeon glides away, they're sitting outside the hide, so they can actually watch where that bird goes, mark it and go and pick it straight away.
Now George, although not as old as his dear old spaniel, is not as young as he once was. Face it, none of us are. So how are his bits and bobs standing up to the pressure of years of world-class competition? Does he need an eye test, for example?
It's just starting to go very short, close work. Keep still. He didn't like that. My eyesight was good enough to see that one.
As we said at the start, it's always an education being in the same hide as Lord Digweed. It is the best seat in the house. Next up, looking fighting flabby after the Christmas break, it's David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Wildfowling is just one of the shooting sports that's been hit by heavy rain and flooding in the UK. High tides following the January new moon and westerly winds have affected wildfowlers, especially in the south and southwest coasts, with days cancelled and even inland-driven game shooting days abandoned. But temperatures have not been harsh, so this really is good weather for ducks. Staying with wildfowling, and duck shooting has become a political football in Australia. It's good news for duck hunters in the state of Victoria. The Ministry for Agriculture and Food Security has announced that the state will have a full 12-week duck shooting season in 2014, starting on the 15th of March. A former pub landlord from Gloucestershire has won back his shotgun certificate after an appeal. Dean James had his licence revoked after fights took place on his premises. The 49-year-old has held gun certificates for 23 years and is a member of a wildfowling club. Now, do you want to get hold of some Nosler bullets? Highland Outdoors is the new UK agent for Nosler ammunition, bullet heads and brass cases. First established in 1948 by John Nosler, the company experimented with bullet designs before setting on a unique dual-core design. Visit highlandoutdoors.co.uk. And finally, can't get enough of me, enough of news, there's even more. There'll be 2 new news bulletins in our new shows, Fishing Britain out at 7 PM on Fridays and AirHeads out at 7 PM 2 Thursdays a month. So lots more hot air than normal. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Christmas tie by the look of it. Next up, let's see what you lot have been up to. It's Hallo Charlie. Here's what the world's up to this week.
Hello Charlie, this is Eddie, Mark Brannan. We're from Lamping Foxes, and we just want to wish everyone from Lamping Foxes and Fieldsports Britain a Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Hello Charlie, Mark Stratton here, out stalking muntjac on my own bit of ground, and just to prove that I don't miss everything I shoot at, here's a nice little doe I just bagged.
Hello Charlie, it's Sooty here again. Just thought I'd let you know we've been ferreting with the puppies today out in Norfolk. Look at the rabbits.
Hello Charlie, my name's Christian Collins. Just up here in Stocksbridge doing a bit of rough shooting. Not really having a good night. It's a bit windy, rainy, horrible, but all the best mate. Cheers.
Happy New Year. Cheers.
Send us your own Hallo Charlie. Film yourself on your mobile phone, just a sentence saying Hallo Charlie, who you are and what you're up to. Then share it or email it via YouTube, Facebook, Dropbox, or you send it, you name it, to charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Next up, a gorgeous pheasant shoot in Hampshire that practically won me in a charity raffle. Now, doesn't it trouble you, the viewer, that the head of the World Pheasant Association is here picking up on a day's shooting, well, pheasants? It shouldn't.
These ones are hybridised birds which have no conservation value except for the fact that estate owners produce wonderful hedges and woodland for them.
So you're going to be selectively read about each of the guns in turn, is that right?
If possible. One of the great things is I gave up shooting 2 years ago, and I can be selectively wooed, and people can't really get back at me. I think that was about 10-0 to the pheasants. Oh, first one down.
So why am I here? Apart from this being a charming family shoot which only a savage auntie or the purest possible one for the pot hunter would decry, and both of those live in lonely, lonely places, I was bought in a kind of charity slave auction. Fieldsports Channel offered a day's filming of a shoot in the south of England and the chances of eternal stardom on Fieldsports Britain, and, to his credit, Keith picked me up on his own account for a monkey. Talking of animals, one thing Keith is keen for me to film is his dog.
That is my well-behaved lady that you're filming there. My badly behaved lady is, I think, on the right of the line at the moment. That's my wife. That's the one I put up with for 51 years. Oh, don't go in the wrong direction, dog. Oh, that's better. Oh, no. Come here. Now, there's an interesting one. I hope this is all being recorded on film. That is 2 Cocker Spaniels who've broken away. They belong to the filmmaker, and he's got a little spot of bother. So this dog of mine may be quite well behaved in this situation. Put her into a wood and let her hunt, and she doesn't pay quite as much attention.
The next drive is in the woods, and the speed at which the birds come upon the guns is a shock for all. There is plenty of shooting here. The sensible pheasant chooses not to fly.
Oh, sad.
The third drive is what this part of the world is famous for: partridge off chalk downland. It's time to catch up with the man who created the shoot, David Hewitson Brown. He is much kinder about the guns than Keith.
Well, they're all old friends who we've known for very many years. They're all keen shooting people, and several of them fish as well. And they all know a lot about the countryside.
Now, it must be a theme of this shoot, or maybe all pheasant shoots, but if you really want David to open up, ask him about his dog.
I bought this dog about 7 years ago from Jane Loader, part trained, and she's almost certainly been the best dog I've ever had. I've always shot with 2 dogs until I was ill, and Jane kindly sold us Bustle here, and she's been excellent.
David's sons have sorted out the shoot roles between them, but there is still much to contend between David's grandsons. Ollie and Will are both shooting on the last 2 drives, both with minders. 2 years between them, there is more than a teeny bit of competition going on.
They're very competitive at the best of times, and shooting brings out the worst of them for sure.
What's the score at the moment?
Today I believe Will's just shot 4 out of 5, and Ollie got 1 or 2. Look at that bird, that is a monster.
Over in Ollie's camp, there is some last-minute instruction. Will that be enough? Back with Will, and Father James is getting overexcited.
Go on, that was yours, Will. Oh, somebody got that. And again. Go on, you can have a go at that. Go on. He's got my 20 bore, which he believes is his now. He's requisitioned it for the rest of time, as far as I can make out. Won't let his brother have a go. So we've got work to do on his brother. Well done, that was a beauty.
Will is confident, but Ollie is sanguine about his shooting.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
How do you think your brother got on?
Hopefully not as well. Hopefully not as well.
Let's call that a sporting draw between the 2 boys. Last person to talk to is the keeper, Reg Farmer. He's been here for 20 years.
So Reg, you must have been reasonably pleased with that.
Yes, I'm very pleased with it.
as that drive goes, have you seen it do better than that?
No, not better.
What's it like in there?
It's quite thick bushes, yeah, quite thick, yeah.
Were you in there with the beaters?
Yeah, I was in there with the beaters, yeah.
And what are they like at staying in line?
All right.
That's the trouble with some keepers, you can't stop them from talking. Well, it's been a wonderful day, a bag of around 170 and a chance to see Hampshire at its finest. Thanks to Keith for asking me along. If you would like to know more about the work of the World Pheasant Association, go to pheasant.org.uk. From Hampshire to the wider world of hunting, shooting and fishing on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. I always like to hear recommendations of YouTube films from viewers, and Johnny Pinto tells me about this strangely age-restricted video of the healthy sport of dart hunting rhinos in Africa. Meanwhile, American viewer Bryant Franklin wants the world to know that you can shoot a deer with an airgun. He doesn't advise it, however, and many will be shocked, upset and reach for the angry letter writing paper when they learn that it took 3 hours to find the animal in the dark, which, says Bryant, sucks. If you would like someone to make the case for using a muzzleloader, have a look at roe deer hunting with muzzleloader rifle in Hungary, one of the first stalks since the Hungarian Black Powder Shooters and Hunters Association received permission to organise hunts with muzzleloaders. It is narrated in English with a funny foreign accent. No narration necessary for the Spanish falconry film Cazar sin Armas Segunda Temporada. It's like YouTube was designed for falconry. Staying more or less on the peninsula for a short introduction to rabbit hunting in the Pyrenees, you can't do better than this film. It looks terrific, but stunningly dangerous. Not a place you would want to take your dog, or even yourself, let alone your wife or your servants. A teeny bit in French Major Belarusian Deer Episode 2 does what it says: deer in the former Soviet state. I'm a sucker for any film that starts with a charter plane ride. These guys must be going somewhere exciting, and so they are. It's epic Alaskan moose hunt with Stuck in the Rut from the excellent Gunworks channel. Finally, viewer Justin Merrill has put up a film about hunting does in Maine, USA with a bloke called Ray. It is, of course, called Doe. Ray. Me. Genius. You can click on any of these films to watch them if you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, send it in via YouTube or email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Now, if you're still thinking of what to watch next and none of the films on Hunting YouTube tickled your fancy, we have a raft of new programmes to offer you from Fieldsports Channel. Now, you may have noticed no fishing films and hunting YouTube this week. We have moved those to a new item called Hooked on YouTube in our programme Fishing Britain that's out on Fridays at 7 PM UK time. Did we mention that earlier? And if you want to see our airgun YouTube recommendations, watch AirHeads on Thursdays at 7 PM. Two more films we want to plug are the weekly offerings from overseas. This week, the African barbecue hunter is in Namibia, where he comes upon an ostrich nest and gives his definitive recipe on how to cook an ostrich egg omelette, Bushman style. Meanwhile, Jason Bruce's Headhunter Chronicles takes him trekking through tough Mexican terrain to get within shooting distance of a desert bighorn sheep. Sleeping under the stars and riding mules up through the canyons all add to the excitement. Click on the link on the screen for more. Well, we are back next week, and if you're watching us on YouTube, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button that should be somewhere around the outside of the screen, or go to our webpage, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can sign up for our newsletters, various, or click to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. This has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, and good fishing.